Hello, I'm Todd Hall, President and CEO of TrueLiant. As we mark our 70th anniversary in 2022, we reflect on a rich history that would not be possible without the support of the great city of Winston-Salem. From our humble beginnings in 1952 to the present, where we will soon serve over 300,000 members, hire our 1,000th employee, and exceed $4 billion in assets, to a future poised for continued growth, I am proud of the work we are doing together. TrueLiant is grateful for and remains committed to Winston-Salem and all of Forsyth County.
Welcome to the Greater Conversations podcast. I'm Deetra Miller, the Director of Member Relations and Engagement at Greater Winston-Salem, Inc. We'll use this platform to showcase our local businesses, our community, and their stories. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I am super excited to have here with us today Nicole Moore Jeter and her husband, Chris Jeter, who are the CEO and COO of Counseling with a Purpose, located in Kernersville, North Carolina. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
We're happy to be here.
Perfect. So let me make sure that I share with the audience because I don't want to get them confused. Nicole, you are not only the CEO, but you're the founder of Counseling with a Purpose. So I would love for you to share with everyone listening what Counseling with a Purpose is and why you were passionate about starting this business.
I sure will. So we offer individual, group, and family therapy. We've been around since about 2018. We have right now just 3 clinicians, myself and 2 others, a staff of 7 though.
Wow.
Why I'm passionate is a pretty long story, and I'm sure you're going to ask me some questions further along that'll address that, but I can answer right now or I can wait on those.
Let's go ahead and tackle it, yes.
Okay. So I would say at the very least I had a pretty eventful upbringing. So that in itself, some of the barriers that I kind of went through as a child kind of pushed me in that direction. And so some of therapy, I think, was just my own lived experiences. Therapy for myself when I was in college, made a big change for me. And so I always thought, kind of lingering in the background, hey, I want to do for me what that lady did. I mean, I want to do for others kind of what that lady did for me, even though it wasn't something I kind of dove into until later on after grad school. And so after grad school, I had a really bad accident in 2017. I fractured my femur and destroyed my hip, right?
Wow.
So I got a new hip. Was in the hospital for about, 6 days, babe? About 6 days. And afterwards, I remember just saying, hey, everything I want to do moving forward in my life, I really wanted to be purposeful. So before that, I went back to school to be a PA. Because I thought that's what I wanted to do. I was about 3 classes into my prerequisites. And like most things, my plan wasn't God's plan. And I was riding down the road one day after the accident, now having to withdraw from school, and I was thinking, hey, what if I kind of circle back to owning a practice? That would be cool. What would I name it? These are my exact thoughts, y'all. I'm like, well, I don't remember the silly names I came up with, but they were not good. And I said, okay, those are crappy. What are we going to eat? My family needs to eat today. Let's just drop that what we're going to eat. And I started naming things in my refrigerator, like lettuce and tomatoes. Okay, what about BLT? We're just naming things. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, as I'm riding down the road, God completely interrupts my thoughts, and he gives me the name. And he says, Counseling with a Purpose. Now, immediately, I feel, what word can I use? Offended.
Really? Why?
I think I've had experiences where God has spoken to me before, right? And I really believe in my relationship with him, but he's never interjected my thoughts. And I thought, nah, you can't do that. That's not okay. Because my mom growing up would always say, well, God told me. And I would tell Mom, are you telling the truth? Did he really tell you that? We've had conversations, but not like him directing me. And so, of course, I'm being funny, but he interrupted my thoughts. And in that moment, I knew, okay, this is what I have to do. And so moving forward, Counsel with a Purpose, we were all 10 toes down. And that's what I decided to do.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a pretty awesome experience, and I just kind of wrote it out.
Now, Chris, whenever Nicole told you, okay, I want to do this, Counseling with a Purpose, what was your thoughts?
Well, I was a biggest supporter even before Counseling with a Purpose was ever a thought.
Really?
I don't know if she noticed, but I was kind of grooming her for where she at now.
The husband was grooming the wife instead of the wife grooming the husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm not going to argue that.
Because even when she was talking about the PA school, I was the biggest thing. You got your master's, let's go ahead and get this hustle with this counseling thing.
Okay.
So I think that, I ain't gonna say that's what helped her think more about it, but I believe, like I said, I kind of interjected some of those thoughts too as well.
I remember what's odd is that we've worked together like 4 or 5 different jobs. Like God kept putting us in each other's path, right? And so we worked together at a place called Old Vineyard, where we mental health, right?
Yes.
We were behavioral techs. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my sister's there right now.
Oh, really? Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, not cool, but needed. Yeah.
Not cool. But necessary, right?
Yeah, necessary.
And like, he's my best friend. He's always been my best friend for 17 years now.
Wow.
Before we ever decided to like be serious about, really being there for each other. And he would always tell me, he said, Nicole, you're going to sign somebody's checks. And I'd be like, man, go ahead. Like, I don't want that responsibility. And this was before I ever even thought. This was before grad school.
Oh,
At that
wow.
point, I was probably just finishing undergrad. So I think he's being real honest in that he's always kind of seen something in me. So even when I didn't see those things in myself as a friend, like he was definitely there for me. So I'll give him his credit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you supported your wife in that way. And I love the fact that you could see more in Nicole than what she could see in herself. And that's part of what you do with Counseling with a Purpose, because you help people see beyond what is blocking them and the barriers, right?
Definitely.
Talk a little bit about the services you provide.
Definitely. So our tagline, we try to push it every time we can. Actually, my son developed it.
Oh, really?
And it's we help good people get through hard times. And we definitely do. Like, that's definitely what we do. I think we're very special in the fact that we are a family-owned business. So both of my children are active in our business. They come, they clean. My son does a lot of the marketing, mostly when he's in moods, right? Because I have to kind of push him and motivate him, but he does pretty good. But we help people find their purpose in life, like at their own pace, right? So we want to make sure we encourage people to recover at their own pace. We offer a lot of advanced modalities that I don't think you can get from like the bigger chains. A lot of hands-on. We send out newsletters. We send out emails for birthdays. We try to be very in touch with our clientele. But we also offer some things that I think, like my husband mentioned, we talked earlier about this, bigger companies don't do, the day marks, the monarchs. So I specialize in brain spotting, which is a modality that's good for trauma patients, people that have experienced trauma. And what's funny is that we learn over time that the brain doesn't tell time, right? And so things that you've experienced as a young child or even in your child rearing years can be very traumatic for you, and you don't realize it with your thinking mind, right? So even those that don't think that they've been traumatized in some way are having things that are held in their bodies and their minds that are affecting how they engage with the world without them knowing.
Wow.
Right. So even those that don't come in for those reasons end up usually being able to utilize that skill. One of my clinicians, his name is Mr. Manning. He's awesome, by the way. All my people are awesome, but he's awesome. He specializes in something called EFT, which is specifically for couples. So couples counseling modality, and he's the best at it from what I can tell anyway. So he only sees couples. He does that. He's also certified in substance abuse and EMDR, which is another modality that's similar to brain spotting, but more of a formal standard type of approach to trauma. So some of those things you're not going to find even at the bigger chains with thousands of counselors. And I think that we're pretty passionate about what we do and pretty hands-on.
Wow. I'm curious about the brain spotting, because you mentioned that some people may have been traumatized but don't even realize that they have been. And I guess that comes out in maybe their body language or their countenance, or talk a little bit about that.
I don't know if you want me to talk about it because I get like really involved and really passionate.
Oh, go ahead.
For the folks listening, I'm sure they want to hear. Please share.
If it's not too much, I want to disclose personally because I think that the whole ideal would be better than me giving these like $1 million terms, right?
Okay.
So my husband, who is actually really, really supportive at almost all times, nothing's all the time, but he's awesome. So we are very, I think, affectionate. We're affectionate, right? Would you call us affectionate? Yeah, we're affectionate. And but he knows me very well. So if he's holding me or we're close, he'll rub me, he'll rub my back. He knows where I like to be rubbed or touched, right? But he also knows what I don't like. And so he'll rub me sometimes and it's too fast.
Okay.
And I said, baby, I don't like that. He's like, let me slow down. He catches on really quickly. And how long we been together, baby? We've been married almost 9 years. Best friends for 17 now?
Yep.
17 years. It took me 17 years to realize that trigger. Anytime something comes up like seemingly out of nowhere, it's typically a trigger. It's something that's held on from past painful learning experiences, right? And sometimes we don't have a narrative around it. Some things happen pre-verbally before we can even talk.
Wow.
Some things happen when our mind disassociates to protect us. So we have no real thinking narrative for that event, right? But that, for me, is always a trigger. When he moves too fast, it immediately makes me anxious somehow. It's just, and I never picked up on the fact, besides I don't like it. But I thought I had a session actually right before this happened at home, and I said, oh my God, this is a trigger point. Something's happened to me in my life that wasn't a positive memory. I don't remember it, but it has something to do with this act. And it's overwhelming for me because my brain associated it with a threat. And I've, like I said, had a very eventful past full of abuse and molestation and all these different things. Something that my brain picked up on some experience, it's a familiarity there to how he rubs me. Somehow that's connected. So that's some of my own work that I have to do, right? And so if we're just day-to-day, we're not well-versed in any of those things, you wouldn't even acknowledge that. It took me 17 years to realize, hey, that's a trigger. That's trauma.
Wow.
And it's something about labeling it that makes it feel a little better, knowing, hey, this is why I don't like this. It's something deeper there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Being able to see that in yourself is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Dr. Heal thyself, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now, in regard to counseling, there is sometimes a stigma around it. How do you help people become comfortable with actually coming to you and starting a relationship?
That's a tough question. And actually, as I move forward trying to expand and really expand our footprint in the community, that's the issue that I've had. How do I do that? How do I do that without being able to connect or talk to you in person or reach out to you? And ultimately, I think the answer is I do the best I can with what I do. And then when you get in the door, it's all about awareness and the buy-in, right? And so helping you be more aware that you have some of these insecurities around being here. Helping you, like, again, just being able to label the fact that you're not as comfortable with the idea of being here. Because sometimes you can make that first step and still not feel real secure in that. Mm-hmm. And so for our real job is to ask the next best question. The client does all the work, right? And so figuring out what that next best question is for you to help you find some insight into those insecurities, right? And for me, honestly, it's just being, for lack of better terms, and I don't have a therapeutic term for this, real. Okay. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be me. And I'm going to hope that in doing that, there's some reciprocity there, and that person sitting in front of me can be really comfortable with being them. And as we move forward, those things just kind of flow out.
I love that. I love that. Do you find that a younger generation is more open to counseling than an older generation? And the reason I'm asking you that is because you're pretty young yourself, being one of our Winston Under 40 award winners. Okay, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
So, yeah, I'm curious to know, is there like an age range that it's a little bit easier for them to be open for counseling?
So if you would have asked me that post-COVID, I would say yes.
Okay.
Probably so. Pre-COVID, I'm sorry. But post-COVID, it almost seems like it's this era thing. It's just becoming much more acceptable. So now we're getting all ages, all colors, all nationalities that kind of flowing in and seeking support. And I think that's great. I don't know if the experiences around COVID have exacerbated things in a way that makes it necessary, right? And that's why people are more open to it. Honestly, I don't care. Why? I just want them to come in, seek help, find the support that they need. But I do think it's all ages, and culturally, people of color are coming in droves now, trying to look and seek support and being much more open to it. For the longest time, even my own family didn't really believe in what I did, and so that's changed, over the last couple of years. So I think it's just globally kind of where we are and the things that we're going through are making people realize that it's not this taboo thing, that it is okay.
So I'm glad that you brought up the idea of belief. So let's talk a little bit about your background, because you've got several letters behind your name and you've got certifications. So let's talk a little bit about that and how that may have helped your family change their mind about what you do, change the mind of how others perceive the idea of counseling. Let's talk about
my letters. God, I've never had that question before.
We can rephrase it.
No, I like it. I like the challenge. I love the challenge. So I'm going to go deep again.
Okay.
All right. And so, of course, I'm an African-American female. And I was raised by an African-American man. My dad raised me. It was a big thing for me to be better than everybody in the room. But I only want to be in rooms with people that are better than me. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. I was taught that in order for me to get ahead, I kind of had to be a step ahead. And I had to be a step faster, a step smarter, right? And I had to have desires that maybe other people didn't have. So I want to be the stupidest person in the room. I want to be the brokest person in the room. That's how you grow. So he taught me that at a young age, but the caveat to that is because I'm Black, right? And so that was difficult. As I grew up, culturally, getting these things behind my name, it was more of hey, I got to show everybody I can do this. Hey, everyone needs to know we can do this. And whenever I'm going to put quotations around that comment, they need to know. I want to show. Whenever you hear those underlinings or underpinnings in your drive, it's because of past painful learning experiences. Those really lead to insecurities. They point to that, right? And so that's something I think I've really struggled with over time, even being a person of color, talking with my hands. I noticed in grad school that kept people from paying attention to me. But I was torn inside about, hey, this is how I talk, and I like it, Wow. From that to being, hey, I know what I'm talking about, listen to me, right? And so there's this battle between, I need these things so that people understand that, number one, I'm competent, but also that I care. And if I don't fix me or change me, then they won't believe those things. And that was tough for me. Like, that was difficult. So at this point in my career, sometimes I wish I could leave all those letters off. They mean absolutely nothing to me. I put them there because I have to. Ethically, they're supposed to be there. But honestly, they're of no significance. And I honestly don't believe a lot of the clients that I have care. They don't know what letters mean behind my name. Ask one of them. I bet you they don't know. They don't know. And I don't think they would want to know. And ethically, I have to tell them, hey, I'm not a doctor. They'll sit on my couch or my chair and say, Dr. Nicole, Dr. Moore. Hey, I'm not a doctor. Let me tell you about what I do, what I am. I don't care about that. Can I call you doctor anyway if you want to? Yeah. That's part of the process. But I don't think they care about that. Neither do I.
That's awesome. Yeah. The journey of having a passion to help people and being an entrepreneur, that was a balance, I'm sure. But you had a supporter over here that wanted to make sure that you were able to sign those checks that he saw you writing. So, Chris, I want you to talk a little bit about the journey of helping your wife, or basically the both of you being business partners in this, on that entrepreneurial journey. What was that like for you, especially here in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County, finding the resources that you needed?
Can I say something before you speak?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because he oh, is that funny?
See, that's why I was asking earlier. It was the husband grooming the wife or the wife grooming the husband? Okay.
It's both, I think, in so many different ways.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. But I just wanted him to be honest. Just to be honest, okay? Because he again, he has a desire to support me, and he does in such a special way. So I think this is a really good opportunity for him to be really honest about his experience with me, because I want to hear. So I'm looking forward to hear. That's all I got.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, the journey of the entrepreneurship, she brought me along with that. She's always been more business minded. Matter of fact, we can go ahead and start by in the house, she handled all the bills. I was, you know how we do as men.
I do.
So
I handle the fun stuff. She handles the money stuff.
Yeah. So, I kind of let her just took that role, and the more she was, like I say, I brag on her to everybody I know. I think I became more intelligent by listening to her about the business aspect of it. I think she learned a lot from me about the people aspect, because I've always been a people person, always been an extrovert. I always wanted to talk, get to know new people, Learned about networking long time ago in Winston State. So especially
Go
when
Rams.
yes, ma'am. Especially when you in those college days and you broke, you learn how to network and find resources. So I learned that at an early age. And we all know it's not about what you know. Sometimes it's about who you know.
That's right.
So
Well, he knew that. I didn't know that.
so that's why that's where the grooming came in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I say, I learned a lot from her on the business aspect, but the people aspect, I think she learned a lot from me. So that's pretty much how everything goes. Even now, she's still teaching me more about the business. As my role with the COO, I handle the day-to-day duties, but a lot of the stuff she still guides me along with the business and stuff like that.
I love that.
He's so humble and sweet, isn't he?
Yes.
He's awesome, man.
Y'all are perfect together.
We are. If there was ever a perfect, I think we really are.
I love that. I love that. So, what I want to ask now is, even though you went to Winston-Salem State, you went to school
Everywhere. I went to Livingstone for undergrad, and I actually ended up graduating undergrad at Winston State,
Oh, okay.
and then A&T for grad school.
Okay. So, did you just love it here? Is that why y'all stayed? Because you could have taken this business anywhere.
That's true. What do you think, baby?
Now that I think about it, we're moving.
Well, she's from here, and
My dad.
as with Winston State, I just knew I'm from Salisbury. I knew I never wanted to go back to Salisbury, North Carolina. So,
I hear that from a lot of former
Really?
Salisbury people.
yeah, I made this my home as soon as I stepped foot at Winston State. I
Really?
did not want anything. It was either gonna be Charlotte or here.
Okay.
And I tried Charlotte, and I was stayed down there 6 months. It was broke, couldn't find a job. I said nope. I said I'll be back up here in Winston. So yeah, Winston became my home long before I knew it.
I think a lot of that was my dad. Like, my husband, he became really close friends with my dad. Let me tell you guys, too. This dude.
Yes.
So we were friends. Now, mind you, God, we were just friends. I think he secretly loved me, like, forever, right? I really do believe that. But we were just friends. We met, first job together in Concord. We both worked at a group home. And come find out, I was coming from basketball practice. I was dressed like a boy, so he did not like the way I was looking. But come find out, we both lived in the same apartments. And I seen him taking the trash out for his mom. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Oh.
And then a couple days later, his car was on the side of the road as I went to work. He'll tell the story if I let him, but I'm going to tell it. And I said, oh, that's that cute guy that took the trash out. So I stopped and I picked him up. And for some reason, that just blew his mind. I took him back and forth to work a couple days. And then he got his own car, and But we were friends after that. And I don't know how he ended up meeting my dad, but he did. And my dad was disabled. He broke his neck when I was a young girl. So my dad raised me like as a disabled person, right? And so he had a lot of ailments, a lot of things he couldn't do. But I don't know why I wanted him to meet you, but I did. And one day he was still here and I was still in school at Livingstone and I needed some money. And my dad was going to give it to me and he was going to come pick it up. So he picked it up for me. He brought it to me and I said, thank you, all that good stuff. Do you know for months that guy went and checked on my dad without me knowing?
Really?
I didn't find out later on until we were about to be married that he was checking on my dad when we were friends because he was disabled.
Oh, my goodness.
And he would just go and sit with him and talk to him and check on him. And I just thought that was so awesome. I don't know why I'm sharing that story, but okay. So they became really good friends. My dad was pretty honoring. He doesn't like anybody. He loved Chris. And when we got married, he would call him on his birthday. He wouldn't even call me. We had some problems. But needless to say, he declined over the years, and he's always lived with me. When I came back from college, I think I spent 3 years without my dad living with me in my life. I lived with him until I was in college.
Wow.
I was in college for 3 years. I came home. He moved in with me. And so, again, he broke his neck. He couldn't use one side. And that's pretty much why I think we were here to answer your question. Chris helped me care for him, almost like he was his own. He did everything my dad would need. If I was overwhelmed, he stepped in. And then the last year or two of his life, we figured out he had cancer. And so we lost him in 2021. But I want to say that's probably why we stayed local. Okay. Not that I probably would have left anyway, but that's probably a lot of the reason.
Wow.
My dad lived here. And my family's still here now. My mom and stepdad are here too.
Where did you go to high school?
Carver.
Okay.
I was a jacket. Very proud of that. Very proud of that.
You're the second yellow jacket that was on today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're popular.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And this guy, he was a Ram for a minute.
I did go to Winston State for 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't graduate from there?
No.
Oh,
no,
man.
No. I switched my major after the first year, so I only had 3 years. I was a business major, then was a music business major.
Oh, okay.
And then I met my ex-wife and dropped out and got married and whatever. Okay. But I went back later online. But all the classes that I took at Winston State transferred credits, so I didn't have to stay in that online school as long as some people, but I still accrued about $60,000 worth of debt. But yeah, so I'm a Mustang. I'm a Parkland guy.
Okay. Oh, the coach is at Parkland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it is such a small world. It is such a small world. But at the end of the day, you are amazing business owners that I'm glad to be sitting around this table with today. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing for the community. It just makes so much sense because y'all just grew up caring for people. And for you to have this, it's not even a business. It's almost like a ministry that you have helping people. So I'm so glad you guys are here. And I'm so glad you took the time to chat with us today. So for everyone listening, there's a couple of things I want you to share. One, how do they get in touch with you? And number two, is there anything coming up that you want to share with everyone listening?
Definitely. So you can always get in touch with us through our website, counselwithapurpose.org. You can even schedule from there. We've got a link to our client schedule in there. You could also give us a call at 336-682-5982. Our coordinator, Mr. Benjamin, will help you with whatever you need. You can email us at info@counselwithapurpose.org as well. We're pretty responsive to our emails. In regards to what's coming up for us, well, we just had our 5th year ribbon cutting, so that was awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Councilwoman came out and spoke, and we just had a great time. Barbara Burke, she came out and spoke with us. It turned out really well. And, of course, the Chamber of Commerce came out, and they celebrated us. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
And then after that, hopefully we're looking to expand. We just had one new hire. We're looking to have a couple more.
Wow.
I think the biggest thing that's coming up for us, even at least for me, is I plan to be on a docuseries in July. I think we record.
Really?
I applied to be part of their cast for, I think, their upcoming episodes. It's called The Blocks. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It was kind of new to me. But one of the reality stars from MTV started this docuseries. I think they're in their 8th season now, 8th season. And they get 60 entrepreneurs from across the world, like small business owners or startups. And they put them against each other with different competitions, kind of like Shark Tank. And they rate them from the best to the least for over a week period.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll see how it goes and try to promote it, but I'm looking forward to that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it seems like, I hope so.
It's going to be great.
I hope so.
You have to let us know when it comes on so we can watch.
I sure will.
Okay.
I sure will.
She probably won't let you know how it turns out. You'll have to see that.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Got to follow the process, right? Yeah. That's cool.
That's fantastic. Well, again, thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. And for everyone listening, until next time. We know you enjoyed this podcast today, so join us for the next episode of Greater Conversations. By the way, you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to visit our website at winstonsalem.com. The views and opinions stated in this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our sponsors, distributors, or hosting companies. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced without expressed written consent of Greater Winston-Salem, Inc. or your toast.